We just got explosive confirmation that multiple federal agencies are working in collaboration on the new proposed UFO disclosure legislation, and that the use of the term non-human intelligence and its definition were not an accident. So late last week, in a brief interview with congressional reporter Matt Laszlo over at Ask-A-Poll, Republican Senator Mike Rounds of South Dakota confirmed a few breadcrumbs related to the origin of the newly proposed Schumer-Rounds amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act that creates a new 9-person presidential-appointed, Senate-confirmed UFO Disclosure Board. Here's what Mike Rounds had to say.
I was just curious, who wrote that bill? Because people were curious about the language that was used.
It was a joint effort. Why did it look kind of like somebody had tried to create a cow and came up with a horse or something?
I tried to look it up. The term they used, but it was used like 22 times. And
there was
you can go with yours. I'm reading the bill right now.
There was direct participation between the organizations that currently have to cooperate in this, but we tried to bring a number of different entities in for a discussion so that it wasn't a surprise to anybody.
I think it might be the term non-human intelligence. I think that might be used like 22 times. What?
Well, what is it? Pretty simple terms, aren't they?
But could that be AI?
Could be.
Non-human?
Could be.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's that broad.
Well, could be. It was not by accident. Let's put it that way.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Senator Rounds, I wanted to ask you if you're good.
I wish I could say more, but that's just. I mean, we tried to keep it as simple as possible.
Talking to you Intel guys.
Sorry, could I write you on?
Have a good one, sir.
Now, isn't that interesting? I want to double click on 2 points that Senator Mike Rounds brought up. The first one is this. He discussed how while they were writing the legislation, they were doing so in collaboration with the multiple parties that would ultimately have to comply with that legislation. This is interesting because we know who those multiple parties are based on the actual text in the proposed legislation. I think what this speaks to is the fact that Congress is not going out on a limb on their own on this. The White House is not going out on a limb on their own on this. This is an effort that's being done in collaboration with all of the necessary parties to actually make UFO disclosure happen if this was a real thing. The second important takeaway, and I've been harping on this in a lot of my past videos, if you actually read the 64-page Schumer-Rounds UAP amendment to the NDAA, they define in very explicit details several concepts, including what they mean by non-human intelligence. And now Senator Rounds is saying that this definition of non-human intelligence was not an accident. This definition, not an accident. So again, if you were to ask me, if the US government became aware of credible allegations that there was an illegal crash retrieval and reverse engineering program for non-human spacecraft, what are the actions that they would take? I don't know that I would have anything differently than the exact actions that we're seeing being taken by the Congress right now. That's what makes this moment so intriguing. And just a last note here, if the Schumer-Rounds amendment does get passed, it will likely be signed by President Biden in December of this year, which will start the clock for the nominations for the UFO Disclosure Board, which will expire in March of 2024. So we could be in a position where we're seeing people getting nominated for this disclosure board as soon as March of 2024.